Hello, fellow people of the Earth. I am Derry50 from Ridgecraft Productions, and today we're working on the calculator program again. This is episode 6, I think? Yeah, episode 6, around there. I think it's 6, yeah. Anyway, today we are working on the calculator again, as I said, and we're working on the calculate script, and this script is the script that will actually do the calculating. So I'm not entirely sure if we'll complete the actual program today, or if we'll just be working on a lot of calculator script. All I know is this class here is going to take a long time. A couple voids or methods that I forgot last time. Let's just put a couple in here. One more. Right below here, I want to add a private boolean is operator. And so take an object and check if it's an operator. This will be a very important method, and like I do all the time, same thing. Nothing changes. Hold on a second. So what we're gonna do is we're doing if o dot equals plus, then return bool equals true, and we'll do return bool. Alright, so, and that just checks if it's plus. But what we want to do is, after this, there are two. There's something that will make it so that it's a combined if statement. So, if this is true and this is true, or this is true or this is true. Hold on, I'll bring it back. Alright, sorry. So anyway, these two lines are, if you look above the enter sign, there's like a shift, and then there's a forward slash, and then if you press shift and press the key, then you get that. So if o dot equals plus, and then or if o dot equals slash, whoops, or if o dot equals subtract, or if o dot equals one more operator, and that is multiply. And if you want to do another thing is and this is using two and signs like that, and that would make it so that if o equals that, and if I replace this wouldn't work, because it would be checking if it's minus and also if it's multiply. So yeah, you gotta be careful about that. But yeah, that's pretty much what you should have here. Is you have plus, divide, minus, and multiply for the operators, and it will check if whatever we type is an operator. You just make sure. I think that was the only method that I forgot last episode. Other than the main methods we're going to work on this episode. So, of course, up here we're going to go ahead and get rid of this and do double output equal to 0. It's actually going to be 0.0. So we'll just go ahead and put that, and then we'll do return output. Not sure why. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now what we want to do is define a few things. So first we want to start with string, and this is going to be called output string. It's going to be equal to that. And pretty much what this is going to do is for every like, let's say we have a number, and it's long, it's like multiple things put together. Just trust me on it. Anyway, just make that there for now. I'll explain it later. Now what we want to do is we want to do array list object calc string equals new array list object. I'll explain once again what this is for too. And then we want to do for object. What we want to do is we want to start a for statement. And the for statement, if you remember before, it's something that's ran for a number of times. So in this case, it's for a number of objects. And as you see there, I did for object O, which we have defined here, and calc. I did a little colon and then calc. Calc is our object array list here. So pretty much this is going to be called for every object that's in the array list in order. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do if is integer O, and then output string equals output string plus O. So pretty much what this is doing is I'm sorry. Yeah, this is supposed to be caps. I'm not entirely sure why actually. Doesn't really make too much sense. I'm just gonna. There you go. So pretty much what this is doing is whenever we type in a number like that's more than one digit, so 9 and 3, it's default just like that. And what this is simply doing is this is going to add those two numbers together. It's gonna instead of being 93, instead of being it's gonna change to that. Very simple. And of course, what we want to do is to actually make the core of what this method is going to do. I want to do else. So if it isn't an integer, then something's got to go down. Some shiz is gonna go down here because we're no longer dealing with integers. We're dealing with operators. There's a helicopter that's very loud going over my house. Okay. So what we want to do is, remember that is operator thing we made before? We're going to use that again, and we're going to check if something is an operator. And if it is an operator, then we want to add this to the calc string. There we go. There we go. You see what's happening now? So now what we're doing is we're adding output string to the calc string first. So pretty much what we're doing is, before, remember how we added all these integers together to make it like 90, we made 93 into 93? Well, that is still saved here, and this isn't changing. As long as it's not in the for statement, this is not changing. So now what we're doing is we're adding, or this is not changing, sorry. We want to add output string to a new array list called calc string, because this is combining those numbers together into this array list. And then what we want to do is we want to add the operator, because that's the only reason this was called. So we're adding the adding O, which in this case would be the operator. So what we've done is we've now changed 9 3 plus into 9 3 plus. And this is, I'm not sure why I'm using that number 93, but I don't know, that's not really my favorite number. I'm just using it for some reason. And this can continue going on and on until you have big array lists, you know, and so on. So we're adding that, and then what we want to do is we want to clear the output string. Yeah, we want to clear it. So we want to set it to that because we are now done with that. Like we no longer want, like, otherwise whenever we type in other numbers, it's gonna add 93 to them. So it's gonna be, you know, kind of annoying, and you don't want that. So yeah, so that's pretty much what that does. It checks if it's an operator, and if it's an operator, then it, you know, adds a little, you know, kind of makes a divider there. Now we want to add an else if statement, and an else if statement is, of course, you know, an if statement else, you know, I mean, if that doesn't work, then it tries another if statement. So I want to do else if O dot equals, and then just a little dot there, period. This is if it's a decimal. What I want to do is we want to do output string equals output put string plus O. So what it's doing is it's just adding I'll do another comment here. So it changes 939.3 to that. So it's adding this to these two numbers. So that should work. So calc. Of course, we're not actually calculating anything first. This first part here is simply actually just making it so we can read it in the calc string here. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure that output string dot equals this. So pretty much it makes it so that if it checks it, this exclamation point is like the opposite of a boolean. So if output string dot equals blank is this boolean, and then that would be returned with true if it's blank, and then this is going to change it so that if it's not true, so if it's false, that's what the exclamation point does. And that's the same as doing dot equals and then false, but I like that makes your code look a lot cleaner. And then if it is not empty, then you want to add to calc string output string. This is the end of the for loop. This is right at the end after we finish the for loop, so right below it. So there's pretty much, if there's an operator, there's no more, if this operator thing isn't called for the last time and output string is still not cleared, then we want to add that to calc string. So yeah, and then we also want to clear the output string, just because I like doing that. So yeah, that's what happens. Now here's where it gets funky, or this is where all the hard stuff comes in, harder stuff than that. Now what I want to do is I want to check that calc string dot size is greater than or equal to 3. Let me continue. So calc string dot size returns the size of this list here, and pretty much what it's checking is if it's an actual equation. So if it's like 93 plus 93 and not 93 plus, and make sure that it's actually, you know, something. Make sure that it's an equation and not something like this. So if it's greater than or equal to 3 is the magic number. What we want to do is we want to set output equal to something else. This can be equal to basic calc and then calc string. So basic calc is a new method that I'm going to create now, which takes a calc string array list like we did up here, and it returns a double. So this is what's actually going to calculate. So this is where everything pretty confusing gets going here. So this main part here, let's just go down it again to make sure we know what's happening. It creates an output which is equal to 0 by default, and then it creates an output string which is kind of our cache for numbers, and then it creates another object array list to save the new kind of stuff. And then for object O in the calc object array list, for every object it's going to, if it's an integer, it's going to add it to the output object string, or the output string. If it's not, and if it's an operator, then it will add to calc string the output string, and then it'll add itself to that same array list, and then it will set the output string to 0 because we no longer want to deal with those numbers. And then else if again, because this else statement could also contain anything that's not an integer. Else if again, if the object is equal to a period or decimal point, then output string is going to be equal to output string plus O, because it's going to be equal to a decimal point. So yeah, we've gone down that now, and then we get all the way down to here where we actually do the calculations. So there are multiple number of values we'll have to deal with here. We'll have to deal with double last, and that'll be equal to 0. Double next will also be equal to 0. And then we want to deal with, of course, return double. I do code a bit weirdly with this stuff. It should be like that, but you can format it differently. You know, yeah. So then you want to, of course, put return double down here. And this is where the code's all going to be written, yes. Make sure you save. String operator is equal to nothing. That's another thing we'll have to deal with during this script. And boolean make next int equals false. This pretty much makes it it's like a boolean to check if you should make the next thing an integer. It's going to be complicated, trust me. It is going to be complicated. So now we're going to start our for loop here. For statement. So we want to first of all set int I equal to 0 before the for statement, and then during the for statement it's going to take object O from the calc. I'm just going to make this calc to make it easier. So object O from calc, and then we're going to create a for statement here. And for this object, it's first going to I++, so we know how far we are. I think this is actually, it's probably just for debug. From in my old script that I'm looking at referencing, but I'm going to keep it there for now anyway. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do if make next int, and then I'm going to leave that empty for now because I haven't even told you what that does yet. And we're just going to make else right down here. Actually, no, we don't need that. Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So if make next int is not true, so if it's false, then right down here, what I want to do is want to check if if it is integer double, if the object is a double, then we want to set last equal to get int double. Oh, I actually think this is something we have not created yet. Get int double. So that's going to be a void. Let me just think. Yeah, hold on. So get int double, we'll just make it like right above the integer double because it's kind of related to that too. So we'll do private double get int double, and that will be equal to object O. And it's going to check if it's going to make it if it's not a string. So if this integer or this object is not a string, then it's going to return a double of O. And then else return double parse double and then string O. So it checks if the object is not a string, and if it is not a string, then it will just return a double of O. And if it is a string, then it will try parsing it. And as you can see, I don't actually have a try statement in this one. That's because it has to be used carefully. It can only be used in certain situations, and you have to make sure the situation is good before you even use this, because we don't have any try statements in it, just because that would make the code slower by like maybe a trillisecond, possibly. So last is equal to get int double O, and that's if the integer is a double. So we're checking if it is a double before we even do anything. And then right here we want to have a else if statement for if it is an operator. So because if it is an operator, then we want to work with we want the next to be an integer. So what we're going to do is we're going to do operator is equal to string O. As you remember, the operator is something we set up here. And then also down here, we want to do make next int, and we want to set that to true, because now we're going to be working up here. One thing I think I should quickly point out is integer double is checking if it's an integer or a double. It's kind of all combined into one void here, one method. So that's, sorry if you hear my dog, but this is what this method's for. It checks if it's an integer and a double. It doesn't check if the integer is a double. I'm not sure if that would confuse people, but anyway. Let's go ahead and work on this make next int part. So under here, what we want to have is, first of all, we want to check if it's an integer or a double. So if is integer double, and then here we want to have the main part of our this part of the script, which is we want to set next equal to get int double, and then of O. So what this is doing is getting the integer or the double of O, the object. And if it is an integer, then it will become a double, because we're working with doubles here. So now what we want to do is if operator dot equals, and then plus, we want to return double equals math add last next. Remember, math add is something we created before. Right down here. All of these we created before. So this is what's going to happen. So now if operator dot equals plus, then continue. Then else if the operator is equal to minus, math subtract. And then we want to do else if the operator is equal to, I think it's actually subtract. Subtract. Be subtract. If operator dot equals divide, math divide. And if the operator is equal to multiply, math multiply. And there we go. So that's in make next int. And right at the bottom of it, here we want to have if calc.size is not equal to I. So if the size of the whole array list is not equal to I, make next int equals false, and last equals return double. So this may seem pretty weird, but pretty much what you're doing is the I here that we had before, it adds every time we go down an object that's in this array list. And if at the end of this make next int thing, the calc size, the size of this is equal to how many times is not equal to how many times we've ran this, then we want to set makes next int equal to false, so that it can go back to this to check if it's an operator or if it's a double, and we can set it to last, and yeah. So that's what's going to happen. And the reason we're not putting make next int equals true down here is because this is going to keep adding until we get to an operator, and then the operator is going to do all this. Make next int, name it for the boolean. I guess it's kind of a bit confusing. It makes sense if you think about it, but it is, it can be kind of confusing. But to explain how this entire thing, actually, I don't even think we're done yet. Hold on. If is integer double. Excuse me, and at the bottom here we're just going to do I is equal to 0, make next int is equal to false, and return double. So yeah, what this is going to do, let's just test it out with an equation. So let's say our equation is, after it's been parsed through, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what I'm doing at all right now. After it's been parsed through this up here, our equation is 93 point, or 93 point, or no, it's just 9.3. Never mind. 93 plus 85. So first of all, it takes 93, goes down here. Doesn't make next int is currently equal to false, so it goes right down here, and it checks if the integer is if it's an integer or a double, and it is. 93 is an integer, so it adds it sets last, a double last, equal to get int double of the object. So 93 is in there, so I'm gonna go down to plus. So now it's a plus. Plus is gonna go through here. It's gonna go back down to here because make next int is still equal to false, and it's gonna go, oh, it's an operator. So let's set the operator, the current operator, in equal to this object, and then make the next int equal to true. So then this is where the make next int name comes in, because this is an int, and we know it's an int because of the operator, unless there's an equation problem. But what's going to happen now is 85 is going to go through here, and it's going to say, oh, so I'm supposed to make this next int, and if it's an integer double, then which it is, then it's going to set the next int equal to get int double, and last is still equal to 93, and then the operator is equal to plus. So what's going to do is going to add last and next, and it's going to get 93 plus 85 to be 178, and it'll do the same sort of thing with the with the math subtract, math divide, and math multiply. And even if you wanted to throw in some extra types of equations here, like you wanted to multiply and minus, whatever you want to do, feel free to do that if you want to do whatever. But yeah, so yeah, that's what this does. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our calculator here, and down at where it says calculate here, what we're going to simply do, let me just think. Yeah, we want to do double. Yeah, double output is equal to new calculate. Actually, I'm not gonna do that. Let's just do. Let's go all the way up to the top of this class and do private calculate. Equal to new calculate. Alright, so we're creating a new instance of the calculate class, and down here we're going to double output is equal to calculate.calc. So we're giving it the object array list that we have saved, which is our calc list, and we're putting it there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do output and then output. So we're using this void here, and we're putting this value into it right here. So now, if we go ahead and run our calculator now, we can do 8 plus 8 is equal to nothing. Must be something wrong. I'll figure it out. Hold on. Oh yeah, don't forget this also. This is what I'm thinking of it. Where we have this clear method where we're setting the text to nothing, we also want to do calc.clear, because that means you're clearing the calc list. So, let me just, well, yeah, let me continue thinking about what the problem might be. Aha, I found the problem. So where we have this is integer boolean, we have to flip these. I did this wrong. This is annoying. In the integer void or boolean, if it does parse correctly, you want return bool to be true. If it doesn't, then it's false. I'm pretty sure that's the only those like the only problems. Let's just see if it works now. Oh, it does not. Let's go ahead and check where the problem is. Parse double. And that's coming from here. So, why is that happening? Let's check our integer double here. Aha, I found the culprit again. True. False. An integer double. First one here needs to be true and then false. That must have been a problem during the whole time I was making these. There we go. So now we got this working. 9 times 9 is 81. 8.2 plus 1.3 is equal to 9.5. As you can see the program working right here. Well, that's just the calc. Let's go ahead and get rid of that output there. Where is it? System.out right there. But yeah, that's the program. 9 divided by 6. It's going to be that, and then 1 divided by 3 is going to be that. And if it gets to a certain like point, it'll stop. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17, I believe, is the decimal size of a double. And you can do like plus 9. It'll start rounding it because I think 17 is the maximum size you can have as a double. If I remember correctly, it's gonna be a bit weird with those high doubles, but for the basic stuff, this is a program we have created that works very well. So 3 times 6 is 18, and as you can see, there is a .0 at the end. If you want to get rid of that, in fact, let's do that now. Let's go ahead and go back to our calculator class here, and what we want to do is we want to first of all, where we do this double.toString in the output, let's go ahead and do this before. So string out equals double.toString. So if, now we want to do if out.contains, and we'll do .0 out.split let me just think here. Well, maybe we made this the best way to do this. There's a better way to do this. We'll do replace, and we'll replace 0.0 with nothing. Let's just do that for now. So now, if we go ahead, we want to make sure that here we have that set to out. So 9 plus 5, 8, 17. Oh, it still does it. Let's see. Dot contains dot 0. Alright, let's just do what I was doing before. Well, first of all, let's make sure this is actually working. So let's do a system dot out dot println woo, and we'll see if it's actually identifying that there is a .0 in it. So let's do 8 plus 5 or something, and it says woo, so that means this just isn't working. So we have to do out dot or we can probably just do integer I equals out dot or integer dot parse int out, and we can set out equal to I, string I. So pretty much we're parsing it to an integer, then a string. We can do then integer. There we go. So we're parsing it to an integer, which of course only contains one number, not a .0 at the end, like that. So then we're parsing it back to a string. So we can do like 8 plus 6 now, and it doesn't work. For a 14.0. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Let's just make it. I mean, it's just a harder way to do it, but whatever. String collection out collection equals out dot split the dot, and out will be equal to out collection 0, and we'll just, yeah, it should work. So now if we do, nope, even know what's going on here. Huh. I'll figure it out, hold on. Alright, so first of all I'm going to do out, right here where it says out dot contains, I'm going to do out dot ends with, and then dot 0. And down here we'll do out dot, out dot, I'll figure it out, hold on. Alright, I thought of something. I'm not sure if there's probably a way easier way to do this, but this is how I code on the spot. And I probably will change, I would change something like this later. I think this is probably going to be the last episode for this calculator program, but I probably change something like this later. But what we can do is we can make, we can do out dot, length, -2, because we know that there's, so int I equals out dot length -2, because we know that there's, this is at the end, and then 4, and this is probably pretty not worth it at all, but whatever. For I equals 0, I is less than or equal to I. Or we have to do like, let's just set this to A. Okay. Heck. Not sure what's going on here. I'm stupid. Anyway, the thing I was going to do is out dot substring, and the begin index and the end index. The begin index being 0, and the end index being A. So you can also just copy this and put it here. So now what we can do is see if it works. Nope. Don't know what's going on here. It's not that big of a deal. It's one thing I'm just gonna bring out for now because this episode's gone long enough. But if you figure it out, that's your job. You can do that if you want. And this is coding on the spot. So I mean, it's harder for me to code on video than it is off video, and I usually use a reference while I'm on video, and I didn't have this ready at all. So I whatever. This is perfectly fine though. So anyway, yeah, that ends our not the series, but it ends our calculator tutorials. Now we're going to be working on some other things, moving off this calculator subject. Definitely challenging, definitely very challenging. This part is the challenging part. This part is the challenging part, the calculate class. Calculator class, this is some stuff you need to know how to work with J-frames, and key events and action listeners. But the calculate class deals with random code that I had to come up with. So it could definitely be very challenging. And if you got through this, good for you. We'll be moving on to some very interesting things after this. If not, I don't know. I mean, you can. It was pretty challenging, so I would just continue going on with this series. We aren't going to be basing everything on the code of the last episode all the time. In this case, it was a series of making a calculator. Later, it's probably going to be a series of, random stuff that we probably will base other episodes on, like the last episode on, but, sometimes. But this is like a whole program. We will have more programs in the future, but this is our first one. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.